Alright, hello. My name is Doug Davison. I'm a Penn West graduate student working towards a master in teacher education, English concentration, and this is my ITSE technology portfolio, showing not just only the tools that I have learned throughout the course, but also how they relate to the ITSE standards for improving the use of technology within the classroom. So obviously, to talk about the purpose of the ISTE standards, or the International Society for Technology and Technology and Education, it's of course obviously to promote the positive use of technology in the classroom. So not just for the sake of using it, but for being a effective tool in the classroom to actually enhance education. Also, it includes values and mindsets that are conducive for effective integration of technology. So it's not just blindly putting technology in, but having a good philosophy of how to assess it and how to implement it and to monitor it to see how it works in one's classroom. And of course, it is a guide for educators to embrace the numerous roles that they need to fully understand technology when it comes to the classroom. So, of course, the standards actually have to do more of the roles and giving a clear framework of how one should see, as an educator, how one should see themselves in different aspects of their role with technology. So, the first standard is the learner standard. Obviously, that's the role of an educator to always be learning about technology, of how it can be used, how different ways that it can be applied. So, of course, for me, the project that best showed this was the Pico chart, uh, the project. So, Pico chart is a website that helps create infographics. Now, what's an infographic? It's a visual representation of information. So it fuses information and data in with well-designed graphics and visuals to make not just a pleasing display of the information, but to help solidify that knowledge by the brain seeing both the visual aspect of the information and its abstract data. So, relation to the standard encourages the educator to research new information and trends. So, obviously, to make an infographic, you need data, you need to research, you need to look up information. And of course, I'll quickly show here the my picograph here. Of course, you can make one here, create a new one from either a blank, or you can use templates here. But of course, yes, actually, that's what I did for mine. As I, where do I? Right here. Yeah, so I used the 5 ways to build self-esteem. I modified it to talk about virtual tools and how they can help emergent English learner students. So, yep, a great way to display information. So, strength possesses countless variation and templates, so you can be very creative. Weakness, hard to copy paste text. So, if you want to copy paste text from one text box to another, it can be difficult. Reflection taught me how to fuse research information and well-designed visuals. So, put those two domains together. Next standard, the leader standard. Obviously, to be a good educator with regarding technology, you need to be a leader, somebody that students can rely on for support when it comes to technological tools. And for me, the screencast project was the best exemplifier of this. So the tool I used was Screencastify, and it's a screencast tool that, like the rest of them, they take series of images and sounds on a computer screen during recording and then make it into a video with narration. So it's basically like a movie, but on your computer. A relation to the standard of the leader, it demonstrates the educator's commitment to empowering his or her students and to supporting equitable access to technological resources. So obviously, since that recording video will always be there, assuming no matter what, if they're absent or need a refresher, they can go to that resource, and that can help them with their academic performance. And of course, that there's the teacher as a leader showing support. And I, of course, am using that right now to do this portfolio here. And of course, this here is the video I did for my project. As see, it recorded my presentation of the PowerPoint. I have a mute, but it did record my audio. So that there, of course, is a positive tool to learn for future reference. Strengths: easy method to record and publish educational videos. Definitely for me, it's very easy to just use the screen Castify function to just quickly start a recording. Weakness: unless you upgrade to a subscription account, you only get 10 free recordings, so not the most budget-friendly tool. Reflection: taught me how useful recorded videos can be for students with constant access to them. Like I said, it is a great tool for students to have if they can always just go there and be refreshed, or learn what they miss. It's a really multifaceted tool. Standard 3, citizen. Just like in real life, to be in the digital world, in the digital space, one has to be a legally binding and ethical member of that community, of the digital community. And of course, you have to learn how to not just act, but more importantly, how to use assets of that community without breaking any rules or laws. So the tool that to me best represented this was Google search. So obviously Google search, like Google, you just type in what you want to search images of and you can get those images. But the one thing that really I think is relevant with that is that you can filter your searches for either public domain images or images that, if they're copyrighted, you can find a way to see how you can use it, or if they're part of the Creative Commons project, which is an international organization for an alternative to copyright, where you can use it, but only according to the owner's, specify uses. Like if as long as it doesn't violate what they don't want to use, you can use it. So so it's very nifty to have that when using images, so that you don't break any laws or unethically use an image. Like I can show you here. You go to Google Search Images, Settings, Advanced Search, and you go down here after putting all your conditions there, all your search conditions, and usage rights. So it could be all Creative Commons licenses, which is what I mentioned, where you can have more leeway of using it with certain limitations, or commercial and other. So that's very good. That's a very great way to be a good digital citizen by respecting copyright, and of course to know how to use either Creative Commons or public domain. Strength: easy way to legally use images or obtain images, obviously. Weakness: really the only weakness is if there's an image you want, especially a lot of great looking images, they could either be copyrighted or have a Creative Commons attribute that limits it, and perhaps you would be violating using for your purpose. Reflection taught me to the importance of being prudent with copyright protections. You just gotta obey the law. You gotta be knowledgeable about copyright, fair use, of course. As long as it's for educational or satirical usage, and also public domain, where if it's in public domain, then likely you are good to use. But you have to, of course, learn about whether it's been 75 years since an author's the owner's death, or the creator's death, I should say, and other factors of that. So it encourages one to research the law or research the legalities of using assets from the internet. Collaborator. Obviously, you have to be a good collaborator to be a good educator, especially with technology. Since technology, it uses multiple people now. It's not just one person with one tech tool, but especially the internet, it's a bunch of people working together with the same technological tools. So Instead of the project is about the TPAC or SAMR models. They're not tools. There's real no tools. They're just more concepts or models for education. Of course, they're pedagogical concepts to guide educators in how to use, access, and evaluate technology in its educational setting. So obviously, it's mindful perception of technology. It's being aware of its use. For example, SAMR. It is a good way to see how technology compared to the old technology it replaces, whether it just substitute it, if it augments it, modifies, or redefines the whole process, like how extensive that new technology makes the activity, how if it expands it. TPAC is more about just how it's about combining your knowledge of the content, your knowledge of pedagogy, of teaching, and your knowledge of technology together so that you can have a well-rounded perspective as an educator on how to use technology as both for the content you know and as a teacher how best to use it to teach your students. Relation to the standard encourages students to use collaborative tools to enhance learning experiences. Of course, that's the thing about when students are also taught about TPAC, especially TPAC, they learn that technology can be used not just to learn more about content and about technology itself, but can be used to teach and enhance one's education. It can, for example, a student can use Google Doc not just for saving their own files online on the cloud, but also to share that document with other students to get feedback. So it's a way of viewing technology to improve its use value or its use in the classroom by seeing how it can be used for collaborating, for helping with each other as students or students and teachers. Strength provides clear and helpful frameworks for educators in viewing and implementing technological integration. It's just it's a very extensive framework to look back to and to get the right mindset for implementing a new technology in the classroom. Weakness. It can be very overwhelming with the various numerous variations in the model's concepts. Of course, with the TPAC one, there's just so many intersections of the different domains of technology, content, and pedagogy. It can be very exhausting and feel a bit hard to organize all those different principles. Reflection taught me how to mindfully effectively assess the use of technological tools. So, of course, not just use technology for the sake of using it, but to be mindful and aware how it's being used, how the students best benefit from it, and how it could be used for other purposes. Standard 5.